So we do want to get a little feedback from you guys, and this is really our first initial question. Let's get people to the board, Nelu. Let's see how many of us, because we do have a large group, how many of us can actually
Okay.
get to the board.
Sure, no problem.
Share the Jamboard when you can.
Yeah.
So this
Jambers
is
are in
gonna
the
be
chat.
all right, great job. Is this the start of the board?
Yes, this is the
All right.
first one where people are saying welcome and they're putting their,
All right, I love
yeah.
it. So again, great job. We still have a lot more space there for more people to log in. So please take the time. If for some reason it's taking a little long, don't panic. We will work through that. And I think there is a limit. So understand that and go through the chat line for that limit. All
Okay,
right.
if you can't get into the Jamboard number 1, there is a link, Jamboard number 2, you can go there as well. Okay.
Prepared. Great job, Nelu. Way to prepare. Being proactive there. All right, so you'll have both Jamboards there. Again, as you go in there, so we're gonna start the conversation. So we're gonna move. So understand the Jamboards is just a simple slide. You just slide to the right and you just move from one section to the other. Um, yes. All right. So what I want you to do is the first thing that we're looking for is slide 2. So slide 2, the first question is, what job are you looking for? So I want you to put in the Jamboard, what type of job are you looking for? And Marcelo and volunteers, please try to group them if you can, or at least create some kind of grouping so that we can at least have a consensus of what jobs are we looking for out in the industry. Okay. So again, remember there are 2 Jamboards. So there's some work there. We got to figure out how we pair up. Yes, Marcelo.
I'm on Jamboard 2, so I don't know if Regina, you want to take
Regina, are you on
Jamboard?
1 or
Yeah, I'll take
Saba, are you
Jamboard.
on 1? Saba, I love that heart behind you. Love it.
Getting ready for Valentine's Day.
Yes, love it. All right. Okay. We got the Scrum Master, Product Owner.
Yep, got some Agile coaches and Scrum Masters on Jamboard 2 also. Well, somebody's looking to be an Agile project manager.
Love it.
I like this one, paying.
What's that one? Paying?
It says, what job are you looking for? And they put paying.
A paying job.
That does help.
Right.
Good job, Joe. All right.
I didn't put that one.
That's okay. Let's make sure we're grouping them, guys. Let's make sure we're grouping them.
Yep, definitely grouping them.
Yep.
All right. All right. So I'm assuming everyone's getting in, or at least your topic is being represented. If it's not represented, you can reach out to the channel and just, I don't know, Nelu, would you want to do this, or anyone else wants to at least help out with putting stickies up there? That would be fine as well.
Sure. This is the Jamboard number 1 and
Okay,
Jamboard
you got
number
that?
2. Okay. So we have several stickies here.
Nilu, will you post Jamboard number 2 link again? Because when I click on it, I just get Jamboard number 1 again.
Okay. Oh, okay, no worries.
I think you could just click at the top of the arrow and then it'll go to the second one.
Yeah.
No, that's for the second frame. She actually gave 2 links out.
Here's the Jamboard number 2. Do you see it there on the chat line? Okay.
Awesome.
All right. Okay, so again, Marcelo, can you summarize the different positions? Are you able to summarize them?
Yep, absolutely. We've got groupings into 3 categories: Scrum Master role, Agile coach or Agile project manager, and then somebody wants to be a cat herder.
Oh my God.
That's not good.
I can't believe they used that word. That word. We've heard that in many companies.
I won't say who. I won't say who uses that phrase very often.
Wow.
We know who that person is.
Is there any other role that they're looking for?
No, that's it. That's what we've got. We've got those three primary categories. A lot of folks are looking for that Scrum Master job, Rick.
All right, all right. So, Marcelo, what do you want to say about that Scrum Master job?
Well, you have to like pain.
No.
You have to like pain.
So true.
Yeah. The one thing that I would say about the Scrum Master role is you have to like people. Okay, you can be technical all you want. You can have knowledge in any kind of sort of technical domain, but you have to care about people at the end of the day as a Scrum Master. You know, so if you're a processy or technology person, you may find yourself challenged. I'm not going to say you won't succeed, but you might find yourself a little challenged.
I think what you have to understand is that Scrum Master and depends on where you're getting that job, it could have a different flavor to it. So maybe you guys have read the Scrum Guide, maybe you guys have read some material about that. In the real world, there's a little difference there, right? I've seen Scrum Masters be very technical, you know. Again, I've seen Scrum Masters be more project management where they have project management duties and responsibilities, right? So keep in mind that as you're looking for these jobs, be careful with cookie cutter thinking that this is exactly what you're going to be doing in that job. Okay, you're going to have to really invest in understanding that job description and what they're asking for, right? All right. That's the
100% agreed with you on that one, Rick. It really, it's not cookie cutter at all. And if you look at the job descriptions, they're all over the place. I mean, they'll have some general stuff in there, but a lot of times it's not just a Scrum Master, it's more than that.
And a
So,
lot of
yeah.
companies are transitioning, right? They're not 100% agile. They're transitioning. They're
That's right.
starting. They may have a job posting for a Scrum Master, but when you actually interview, the role of the Scrum Master is not 100% the Scrum Master, but at least they're looking for some folks to come in with some experience, right? And that's where maybe the Scrum Master has to be the change agent in that company to bring in that agile mindset, to bring in, I'm going to throw the word out there, servant leadership, which is so important. So those are some of the capabilities as well for Scrum Master.
You hit it on the nail, Regina. And Marcelo, what you said about people. Not everyone wants to put their energy into people. Not everyone wants to put their energy in continuous improvement. And being a change agent is also a particular way how somebody wants to put their energy as well. And so it's really important for those of you that want to be Scrum Masters. There's a lot of people applying for these jobs. And how are you going to stand out if you can't differentiate yourself on those three areas? This is key.
Love it.
Yeah, the other thing I want to say real quick is once you get, if you do get hired, really get to know the company and what its goals are before you go in and start, bombard them with Agile, because they may not, they Regina said, they may be transitioning. So you want to slowly start building on that.
So the organizations, the high-end organizations that are using Agile, they really look at hiring people that has the same values, right? That they feel that they reflect the organizational value. They can train you in all these other things, but if you fit the culture of the organization, you're somebody who we want in this group, right? So that's the way the high-end Agile organizations are doing that. Again, I told you that there's different flavors, right? So you might not be in that organization. You might be in that organization that's trying to transition, and you have to have all these skills. But I think humbleness, being able to listen, being able to absorb, being able to empathize, all the things that a coach does is crucial to have when you're interviewing for a Scrum Master. Okay. All right. What's the other position, Marcelo?
Wow. Well, we've got folks that want to be agile coaches, enterprise coaches.
Oh, yeah. What's the
agile lead-
difference? What's the difference? This difference, Scrum Master, Agile Coach, Enterprise Coach. Who can help me understand what these different roles look
It's
like?
very confusing. Yeah, it's very confusing. And then somebody said that the enterprise coach is a cat herder with experience.
Oh my goodness, this cat herding
And
thing.
I really like that cat herder job. I I hear they pay well, so I like it.
No comments on that one. I'm not gonna go there. I'm not gonna go there. Regina, can you help explain what a few of these different positions, sound like, or in your experience? I know again it's different in different organizations, but we need to have clarity behind this.
Awesome, awesome. I'll start and then others can chime in as well. So you've probably heard a lot of the Scrum Masters also called Agile coaches, right? Why do you think that is? Because Agile coaching is a capability of the Scrum Master role as well. So in many organizations, you might have that dual role of the Scrum Master, who's also the Agile coach for their team, right? Now, when you think as the organization scale in the Agile transformation, now you're like, wow, you've got these experienced Scrum Masters that they're like, hey, what's our next level of development? What's our next career development? So some organizations have the role of the Agile coach separate from the Scrum Master. The Scrum Masters are still having that capability of Agile coaching because they're coaching their team every day. But now you've got an Agile coach who may be coaching multiple Scrum Masters and coaching multiple teams. And that's usually a Scrum Master who has been promoted, or folks who have had other backgrounds that specialize in Agile, that are master practitioners, that are the change agents in the company, and that really, really have a passion for Agile, right? So that Agile coach, like we said, can come in, coach multiple Scrum Masters, multiple teams. But now that Agile coach has a couple of years of experience doing that, what's the next level for Agile coach? Well, so you could have an enterprise Agile coach. So who knows what the difference of an enterprise Agile coach is? Who can say what the difference of an enterprise Agile coach?
Put it in the chat if you like. Put it in the chat just to see if
Yeah, no shame
this
in
is a
this.
quiz. And if you have your certification and you
quiz.
answer the wrong
These
answer,
are all, yeah, these are all like growth opportunities. And these are actual titles in companies and jobs that are out there. So the enterprise Agile coach now is at the strategic transformation level. You may see some jobs posted of companies that are thinking to go Agile, and they want somebody who has helped transform an organization. So that person has, at some point in their life, led some teams, been an Agile coach of multiple teams, but now this person is working at the executive level, having the tough conversations, talking about how is Agile going to turn a company around, turn your customers around, turn your business around. And that's what we call the enterprise Agile coach. They usually create an Agile transformation office, right, of multiple volunteers representative across an enterprise. And that Agile transformation office comes together with that Agile enterprise Agile coach to transform the organization. So there's a little tidbit there. I hope that was helpful. I'm sure some others got more to share.
I love it, Regina. Thank you. I want to step back a second because I want to start with the Scrum Master, right? There might be people here that might not have that much experience and they want to know, how do I get in? Like, where should I start to try to get that first Scrum Master role? Like, what do I need to do? What skills do I need to acquire? Who else can help me with that? I'm going to hold Regina and Marcelo back a little bit because I want to start hearing other coaches as well because I know they have the answers. What is that first, what do you need to know? Get in there.
I have some question as well as some input to what you have brought up, Rick. And I think it's quite interesting, and it can be a little bit challenging to accept or to even look for a job as a pure Scrum Master, because everybody comes with some background, especially myself. I come with a lot of technology expertise and a lot of architectural background and a lot of aspects of project management. So personally, really hesitate in applying for just a pure Scrum Master. So I really look for something which applies to my background and expertise, maybe project management, maybe technology management, maybe hands-on, or maybe estimation or EVM or something like that. And I try to come across saying, okay, yes, I can do all that in an agile environment. So if you want to make me a lead scrum master, or you want to make me somebody, something, that's okay with me. But my game is a little bit different. If I just say that I want to be scrum master, then I may short sell myself.
That's an interesting view. Interesting view there. Because what you're saying, and I want to make sure I'm clear on that, because I've actually seen that a lot. Like where people feel like I don't want to be a scrum master by myself because I want to keep my technical expertise in this because this is really what I love and I'm passionate about. And I don't mind doing the other stuff to grow, but I still want to keep this. I understand that and I appreciate that, but I also want you to know, in my opinion, there is a world of Scrum Master that
Yes.
is so intense that if you don't fully focus on that, on the culture and transformation, and you're trying to do everything else, you could also hurt yourself. But again, what you said was awesome because that's what some companies are looking for. So that's what we want to get. We want to get reality. We want to get a reality check. And reality check is there are companies that are asking Scrum Masters to do a lot more than what they're supposed to be doing. And it's hard for people to let go sometimes and become a Scrum Master because they got other things that they are also wanting to expand. But great job. Thank you. So again, I will continue to ask additional questions as we do more exercise. So be prepared. Okay. And I'm going to be calling on people that have not spoken yet. All right. We want to make sure that everyone gets to speak. All right. Let's go ahead and go to the next slide. I want to actually move on a little bit more. So we're looking at, go ahead and go to the next one, which is which one, Nelu? Perfect. What's the best place to look for a job? So your feedback is important. Where's the best place to look for a job? Come on, put the stickies up there. We want to hear it.
They only put one on that board, but on the second board, we have networking through friends.
They're already doing it that fast? They
Yeah,
were doing it ahead of the.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, these people are on top of it.
Overachievers on the second board. Slow down there.
Yeah, man, these guys did not want to wait.
Okay, go ahead, Marcelo. Continue. What else did you get there?
They did not want to wait. I mean, you're seeing there, they've identified Indeed, Monster, LinkedIn, through friends. You know what they say is to be one, you got to know one, which is why coming to these meetups is such a great idea because you get to network, you get to know people, you get to share what you know with everybody. I've learned everything I know from Dilip. So, and that's how you find opportunities to get yourself employed somewhere.
Love it. So who can give me a little insight on these tools and what is one special thing that you need to make sure you're doing with those tools? And I'm looking around to anybody that wants to just unmute themselves real quick and just give us a little pointer.
I'll do a couple.
Go for it.
I'm on LinkedIn like there's no tomorrow. So your personal brand is extremely important. And how you are putting yourself out on that platform has millions of people looking and also top people that are always on it. You have leaders, you have C-level. So there's a lot of eyes that are on there on LinkedIn. So your headline, for one, needs to be very explicit. And this is what I talk about. How are you branding? How are you positioning yourself on what kind of jobs that you're looking for? Extremely important. Your description needs to talk about who you are, what you have to offer, why you do it, having some keywords as they're doing it. Now, any of you that ever been in Recruiter on LinkedIn, which I've had that upgraded there are keywords where people are searching. So that headline is extremely important because that's how they're going to catch you. I don't know if you guys are aware of that. So do that. Another thing I highly recommend, and I'm all about personal branding, is video. If you can get comfortable on video, I highly recommend for you, get a YouTube video. You can create an account and put a video in there that's unlisted. And here's the awesome thing that you can do. In your profile, you can upload that video and you can actually have it there for people to see, or you can give it to people. Today, even on when people are submitting, just to go a little bit further, is video cover letters are the thing and they are the rage. And here's why. How do people make decisions when they hire a lot of times? It's because they like you and they have to be connected. You know me when it comes to the people thing. And so it's a great opportunity when you're on the LinkedIn platform to start making it where people understand who you are. I look at a lot of profiles all the time and they're very flat. Another thing to do on that platform is start getting engaged. Start getting where in areas that you are trying to find a job, or if there's a company that you're interested, start getting engaging in some conversations. Once your people are in there, you can connect in that way and be bold. Reach out to somebody. I've reached out to a CEO long time ago. This is a story, not even like me today. This is like years ago, about a job. It was a project manager job, I think, that I was interested in. And I totally messaged the person for the job. And he probably said, man, this girl got kahunas. And he connected me with a hiring person. And I ended up getting an interview. I kid you not. So don't underestimate the power of that platform and get engaged if you're looking for a job. Now, that's only a little tidbit I shared, but there's a lot that you can do there to get noticed and get jobs. If you're just applying, look how many people apply a job, about 200 people. You've got to be very creative and unique at how you're going to get someone's attention. And one thing is, how are they going to remember you? I'll leave it at that.
Love it. Thank you, Veronica. Again, a lot of passionate conversation here. We could talk about this forever. So I think with time, we're probably going to have a sticky board to say which topics do we want to keep talking about this, and maybe open up different meetups just to dive into deeper topics like that. Like that, right now, she could probably talk for another 3 hours on it. I love it. Thank you. All right. So again, important for you to make sure you have that connection in LinkedIn or any of these Indeed. There's a simple way of just turning on that you're looking for a job, right? So keep that in mind as you're pursuing that. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and go to the next question. Again, we're using, hopefully you guys are chatting. Marcelo, are we seeing any chats in there? Are there any questions going on in the chat, or are there no questions at all? We gotta start.
We do have a question from Sophie. It says, I have 5 years of non-Scrum Master related work experience. Should I put all that out or put more emphasis on the last 4 years of Agile experience? And I'm going to put the question back to everybody else. What do you guys think? Give Sophie some ideas here. What do you guys think?
I mean, I can relate to Sophie. I have very minimum Agile experience because either I was in extreme programming or traditional or something or other hybrid. So what I did in the cover letter or in the summary, I put down saying I have a good knowledge of Agile, Scrum methodology, and as well as traditional waterfall and something, you know, in a team-oriented environment. And you know, that really helped me. And throughout the resume, I put down individual deliverable at the functional level. So that shows that somebody can relate Agile way of thinking in the experience itself. If I just put down in my experience some functional description of project or the company or without itemizing, individual achievement, just the way we do it in Agile. At a little bit higher level, that really helped me a lot.
All right.
Thank you, Dalit. Yeah, we also had a suggestion from Saba. Saba, you wanna share your idea with everybody? Sorry to out you, but
No, that's okay. I actually, yeah, I think there's a lot of skills that you have that are transferable. The thing is, by listing them, you may not really highlight exactly what they're looking for. So you need to actually connect the dots for them. So figure out what the role you want and what the accountabilities are, and then how what you have links to that. And that's what you need to highlight. You need to bring it to light. You need to make them understand that, yeah, you're asking for this accountability. Here's how I applied it, but in this environment.
I couldn't agree with you more, Saba. It really, you need to look at the job description, see what they're looking for, and then look at your resume. And because a lot of times these things are, they look at keywords and they'll try to find you that way. But when they go to look at your actual resume, they want to know, okay, is this person fit the role? Do we have a starting place to do an interview? So really tailor your resume to the job description.
that's great. And we also had a thought from Mark Metz. Sorry to out you there, but you want to share what your thinking was there with your idea there, Mark?
So in my current company, Scrum Master was not a role that the company officially had. So it didn't stop me from engaging in conversations. And even though I wasn't a Scrum Master, I could still, I guess, emphasize the mindset of a Scrum Master by leading with conversations of, well, if I put my Scrum Master hat on, this is my advice for this situation, or this is how I might handle this particular situation. So again, another way to possibly get you noticed for having the right mindset to the team.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. Thank you, Mark.
Cool.
Very
Love
good.
it. Thank you very much.
So guys, what I'm going to pivot a second. I know we have the next one, the next slide, which is, what's the next slide? I want to actually change this slide because I'm hearing a lot of pain points and I want to actually capture some of that because some of that is going to be used for future sessions, right? For future sessions. So Neilu, I don't know where are you in the slide? Can you add something like pain point? I know we might have had further down and tell us which one you want us to go to. So the idea is, what are you struggling with? You're looking for a job. We want to hear from you. Give us the insights of where you're having the most difficulty at so that we could kind of pivot a little bit our conversation to deal with the biggest pain point, right? MVP, highest value item. How do we work with that? So which one are you doing? Are you able to do that, Neidu?
Yes, I'm sharing. I'm not sure if this is good enough.
Just pain point. You just word pain point. There you go.
Yeah, if yours doesn't say what you're seeing on the screen, it's because I also updated Jamboard 2 with Rick's question, and it's basically, what are your pain points in applying or interviewing today?
Right.
So Rick, can I say something?
Yes, if it's short. Go for it. Is it short or is it like 2 hours?
Speaking to a lot of people.
Go ahead,
speaking to a lot of new people who are in groups who are looking for jobs, I think more of it is people kind of leave themselves vulnerable and open the door for interviewers to now catch on them that either they're just 1 year in the job or they've not been doing the job. So sometimes they ask you one question, you now volunteer 2, 3 other answers, and that opens up for them to now ask more questions to extent that you don't even know where they're coming from. So I've had somebody here, I'm not outing them, that at a point also we prepare too much sometimes, and we think we've not covered anything, and then you get to the interview, just one question messes up the whole preparation. So just those little things that I've been hearing from them, it kind of brings to the point that sometimes it's not all about how you prepare, it's about what you say there sometimes. Yeah.
Or how comfortable you are getting new stuff to come at you, right? Can you think on your toes, right? How quickly can you pivot when you're trying to absorb new things? So I love that. Great job. So again, to continue this idea of understanding your pain points, we need you to put some of them down. The idea behind it is that we can start grouping them and maybe even deciding by the end of the day, okay, these are some of the ones we're going to be tapping on maybe in future sessions. Get hyper focused on one area, right? Get you guys over the hill or over that mountaintop so that you can proceed down, to employ. So Marcelo, if you're looking for some common denominator, or Regina, and you're looking at your stuff, see if there's anything right now that you see that really
Well, yeah, there's things like, recruiters that ghost you or don't give you feedback about why you didn't get the job, or you apply and you never get even a call to interview.
okay.
Or you go to a panel interview and you have to interview with 5 to 7 people. Like, how do you prepare for that?
Yeah, and going on that, not necessarily just a panel, but like I interview with one or two people, then I go and I interview with another person, then I go and I interview with it. So you're there like the half the day or more.
Yeah. So understand, like, interviewing is like anything, right? The more you do it, the better you get at it. So
That's true.
to Godwin's point, the first couple of times you might be a little rough around the edges, but then by the time you're on that 20th interview, and hopefully you'll get a job before that, you're a lot more comfortable. You're a lot more better, in stating your questions, answering questions, asking questions, doing talking about your brand. But one of the things that we've done in previous meetups, if we've actually done mock interviews. So that's a great recommendation. How do you get better at interviewing? We say it's practice. Schedule a mock interview with a friend, or even reach out to us, the coaches. We're more than happy to help you guys out and go through that with somebody so that you hear yourself. It's great to film yourself, believe it or not, videotape yourself doing a mock interview. That way you get to see what you look like, your body language. Are you nervous? Are you twitching? Do you look relaxed? Those are really good ways for you to practice and retrospect on your improvements in that area.
Love it. All right. So again, Marcelo, looking for a common denominator so that we can hyper focus. Did you feel like which one is the most common out of all the things that you're seeing? I don't know if you can pinpoint one of them. Give me just
There's just such a spectrum here of issues. Even just trying to group them is really, yeah, it's a lot, because
so maybe let's start with the beginning, right? So no one's returning your call. You're never getting feedback, right? You're not even getting to step one in the thing, right? And I think we talked about improving your LinkedIn. We talked about improving your resume, networking, having those conversations. It's who you know. It's those things are important. But I'm still not getting a recruiter to tell me how I'm doing, right? How am I interviewing? My biggest problem with people when they're trying to interview is that they don't feel comfortable receiving feedback. You need to express to the person that's going to give you feedback, please, I don't care if you like me, I really want you to give me that feedback that, hey, I have I'm too hyperactive, I do this. This truth is really important. So you're going to have to make sure you have a person that's willing to do that for you. That is not a comfortable feeling. Critiquing somebody very strong and saying this, people take that personal. So you need to demonstrate to them that you're not going to do that. Okay. Any other first entry thing that we could think of to help them? Does anybody else have a cool method of getting that first call, getting that first in that they want to share? And someone else that has not spoken. Everyone else has spoken, that's it. Sorry, can't talk anymore. You're done. Anyone else can tell me a situation where they got in, And I'm going to put the awkward pause.
Yeah, I don't think they know that we're comfortable with long, uncomfortable silences, Rick.
I'm going to start picking on people. Andrea, how you doing? Unmute your line. How's it going?
I'm good.
Tell me a situation. How you get in? What's a way of getting in? What's a trick? Give me your tricky way of getting that first interview. And you're muted, just so you know. I know you're saying, Rick, you're awesome.
I'm trying to get a TV to turn down. Well, I don't think I'm the best person to ask that question to, because my experience trying to find a job over the past several years has been a shoebox of rejection letters, literally.
What did you learn from those rejection letters? What did you learn from them?
I learned that I am good at selling myself, and I kind of think I intimidate prospective employers. And my last interview was a few years ago. And the lady who I interviewed with, she actually told me that I need to stay on my current job and that she thinks that I have educated myself out of the job market.
Wow, you're too smart. That's the problem. All right, good job.
That's a real thing. But one trick that I applied, and I'm not going to say this has worked for you guys, but one trick that I applied was, while I was working, I actually interviewed. Did you hear that? While I already had a job, I actually applied just to get interview experience while I was working my current job. Okay. So I know that doesn't help you if you don't have a job right this minute. Okay. But once you do have a job, don't think that that's it. I don't have to interview anymore. No, you should always have that skill in your tool belt, ready to use should you encounter the need to have to use it. So periodically, go back, take your resume, dust it off, update it a little bit, and reapply for something. And if you happen to get that first interview, take it. Take that half an hour, 45 minutes, take it. Take that interview so that you keep that tool sharp. Okay? And that little tidbit has helped me immensely.
So Marcella, I want to add to that because I've been in the same company for 24 years. And I have been out there in the market recently, and I have gotten a couple of interviews, and it has been painful, but I'm glad that I'm doing it because, you know, I realize that, yes, you have, it's a skill that you have to practice. And if there was a situation where I actually needed to get a job, that at least now I'm practicing and I know what large organizations are truly looking for in my space. And it's very different. I've been interviewing with JP Morgan. That's and awesome. You know, what they're looking for is completely different than, you know, another company. So it's good to get out there and just see what are these, if you want to work for a large organization, what are they looking for? And it could vary, but at least you have some examples.
Right. I love it. And what you added there, just, I was thinking about that, is that, so as you're interviewing, I think people don't take into consideration the questions you can throw back to the interviewer, right? You can learn a lot. You just said that, well, you don't know how your interview went. Well, what if you ask some questions that say, well, what are you looking for? You know, what are some things that you think are valuable in your organization? And then if they listed certain things and you didn't address that, well, maybe that was your gaps, right? So there are ways that maybe you should also prepare yourself, like what kind of questions would I ask this interviewer? Because it shows excitement. It shows the excitement that you want to learn and you want to see what they're doing. So that's something you might think of. All right, Marcelo, you ready to pick another item from the list there?
Can I say one last thing, Rick?
Yes, you can. Remember, I'm trying to give other people voices. We have wonderful coaches that love. Go ahead, Godwin. Go
So
ahead.
I said something one time, and I think he didn't give me the job because the guy thought I came out cocky. Because I asked him after the interview, like, was there any question that I did not answer properly? Or was there any aspect of the interview he felt didn't go well? I need to, let him understand something else. And he said no. So I said, okay, if nothing was wrong, then when am I starting?
Oh, that's too much.
Fun.
He said tomorrow, right?
And he looked at me like, you're full of yourself, you know?
Oh. Hey, you had fun. You had fun doing that. Hopefully you were employed already while you were doing that, but that's good one. I like that one.
I want to pick this one, Rick, the one that I've just blown up.
Okay.
Because this is a very common, you did it to yourself. Okay. One of the things that when you interview, you have to be aware of, regardless of how much of an expert or non-expert you are in a particular interview, you're you. You can't control the other person's emotions and reactions, but you can control your own. And the key to how you would handle this is actually embedded inside of this sticky. Okay. If you're struggling because you have to spontaneously structure responses, the best response there is to not feel you have to spontaneously answer everything. Did you hear that? Don't feel that you have to spontaneously answer everything. You can take a breath. Right before this session, I'm going to be transparent here, Rick. Rick was stressing out. He was stressing out with the team. And I said, hey, Rick, I know we've had a long day, but can you do me a huge favor? Can you just stop for a second, take in a deep breath, count to 5 in your head, and say back to yourself, everything is going to be okay. No matter how stressed you're feeling, say to yourself, give yourself the space to say, everything is going to be okay. So if you feel yourself struggling to have that spontaneous response, don't struggle with it, because you're turning over to them the power. Stop for a second, take a breath, give yourself that time, okay, to let your mind calm down, your emotional reactions to calm down. And then, and this is just something that I try, okay, it's up to you how you guys want to try to say, well, let's think it through a little bit. So in other words, I drag it out. I don't start immediately answering them, blah, 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 blah. Let's think it through a little bit. Say, I open an invitation to them to think through it with me. So in that sense, I'm kind of telling them, we're going to work out an answer for what you're asking together. Okay, but you've given yourself that breathing room.
I love that.
That's excellent, Marcelo. Can I just share one tip?
Sure,
I had an excellent training session on the weekend, and I got my Cali certification.
Okay.
And one thing that the instructor taught us, that fear and excitement has the same emotion. It's the same emotion and has the same effects. So I would advise Rick to choose excitement.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, be careful how you interpret other people. Okay, that's another thing we need to be careful, right? When other people might look stressed, they might not. They're just excited, right? So
Now I know that's your excitement.
I get excited a lot. So I enjoy what I do. So I'm very passionate about what I do. But one of the things I think is really important about interviewing, and this is something that if you get into Toastmasters and all these type of speaking things, it's about having a story. It's about talking through it in your own way, saying, this is how I built this. This is how I went to this. That way it's a journey that you're taking some. I have interviews because I also still always interview with anybody, no matter what. It's an interviewing process. But showing people the emotion, taking them through that journey and then saying you're here, Sometimes I have interviews, but they don't have to ask me a question. I answered all their questions, you know, and I show them that, look, I have excitement, so please stop me if you need me. But this is what I've done, this is what I've done. Kind of led them through that. Also, a thing that I've learned, I know this is kind of weird too. Sometimes when the interviewer talks a lot, it's actually a good thing because it shows that they're actually invested in you. Be careful with interviewers that are not saying anything, because that's like, okay, are you truly here or you really want to get out and do something else? So the more you can get them to actually see their nods, see their face expressions. I do a lot of reading of people and kind of absorb, are they getting this? Are they understanding what I'm trying to get to them? Somebody had another question. Was that you, Bob? I thought I heard somebody mention something. Nope. All right.
I gotta
Go ahead,
Carolyn?
Carolyn.
Yeah. So the question I have is, sometimes, like you're saying, you over prepare, you think you have your ducks in a row, and then they ask you a question and your mind goes blank. Like you know the answer, but your mind is blank.
Mhm.
So question for you is, what do you do in such situations?
Exactly what I just said.
Can I answer? Can I jump in?
Absolutely, Brandon. Please take it.
All right. Sorry if you hear my
Exactly what that man is saying.
right. Sorry if you hear my son. He's in the background. He's upset.
That's if you don't get the interview.
Right, exactly. So what I've done recently, and I actually can take you into the room that I've been interviewing in. So I've had like 9 interviews over the last like 2.5 months, and a couple job offers too. So something that I've been using, especially now that everything is pretty much remote, I set up like my own like Scrum boards for myself, like Kanban boards. So I have like an about me section, or I have like certain things they may ask about me. I have a about Agile section. So if I have to think of something quick on my feet, I have something to work with. I have an about them section with different things that I've wrote up that I've looked online to see about the company that I like or I might want to ask about. And then like other reminders and things that I might want to ask them about. So, I mean, because we're operating in, from a work from home type situation right now, it's actually a lot easier to interview for me anyways. And attending these sessions, like speaking to people, and getting new insight from other people, it really helps, me to come up with different questions and certain things that I might want to talk about in the interviews. But like these cost freaking 60 cents at freaking Dollar General. Just buy a couple of boards, get some stickies, and set yourself up for success. You'll have them right there, like right in front of you, and just you'll have different, tips and tricks you can use right in front of your face.
Rick, hire that man.
He's hired. He's hired.
Done so much, man.
Kanban training.
They can see if you're looking at the board, they can tell, right?
Yeah, but guess what? He's demoing his Agile techniques and he's showing his Kanban board. So now he can turn the interview around and say, hey, guess what? I actually have a Kanban board in my personal life. Let me walk you through how I do this in my personal life. That's right there.
And I'm gonna give Brent. I'm sorry, what, Rick?
And I'm saying, where's yours? I'm coming.
Well, no, wait a minute. Let's use a little bit more respectful and more clean language. You could do, Brandon, is turn around and say, and this is how I demonstrate the Agile value of transparency.
Wow. Love it. Love it. Okay. So hold on a second, because I want to pause a second, because there was a question asked, which is, and this happens to many people, we freeze up. We can't remember. And we're just like tense. So I want you to think about what happens. Do you have this same feeling when you're talking to your kids? Do you have this same feeling when you're at home? Do you have this, this blockage? If it's under stress, if you feel this happens under stress, then that's what you get. That's the root cause. Well, how do you get your mind to get relaxed? And I think Marcelo said the breathing exercise, which is one method. But you'll see people talk about, relaxation, hypnotism, meditation, all these things that'll kind of get you, relaxed. And then try to find out, challenge yourself to get that. So remember we talked about mock-ups where people would interview. Well, let's see if that happens. Let's see if if you have a problem with it, you should do it often so that you can overcome it, right? What is it that's causing you to freeze up? And maybe it is practice. Like some people don't have that regular practice doing Agile. So of course it's something that just doesn't immediately come to you, right? So I think it's looking for the root cause of why you're getting that so that you could tackle that. Hopefully that helps you. Okay, Marcelo, looking again, how are we looking at? Is there anything else out there that we
Sir, I
want
have a
to?
question.
Sure.
Yeah, this is Aya from Texas. This is my first time joining you guys. Um, you said something earlier on about asking what the companies are looking for during interviews. Um, in November, I just had my SAFE certification, and ever since I started applying up until now, I've had about 6 or 7 interviews as well. One of the interviews I recently had, I got to the third stage. And my question is, at what point during the interview can you actually ask them what the interviewers or what they're actually looking for? I mean, in a Scrum Master.
So hopefully you get that insight beforehand, right? The job description and some of that stuff should be hopefully available for you. But you're asking cultural questions throughout your whole interview. Remember to first understand what they're looking for, right? And in a high level Agile shop, culture outweighs everything. That means if you have the right mindset, they're going to work with you. In a more process driven organization, which are out there, they want to know you have your PMP, you know your processes, you know your SPCs, you know you've gotten all these little certifications to help you. So just understand where those lies. But I would already start building out the questions as you're going through each HR. When you start the process, whether it's HR or whatnot, those are opportunities to build off.
Yeah, and there's one other thing you got to consider. Okay, typically most interviewer will I mean, if it's a one-on-one or even if it's a group setting, they'll turn around and say, "Do you have any questions for us?" Okay, that's only if you're taking a passive stance. This is your interview of them too, folks, not just theirs of yours. If at some point you start to recognize certain things about what they're saying and the kinds of questions they're asking, okay, just as you're allowed to take a breath and pause on something, it's okay for you to walk in with certain questions and say, so tell me a little bit about how others, for example, how others in this or similar roles find their day-to-day, okay, and how they feel about their contributions, okay? So in other words, you're showing interest in the position. You're trying to connect with people who are already in those roles so that you can understand where you could help them. And if they ask you, well, why are you asking? Tell them. So
Right.
I understand who my peers might be and how I can work better with them to make a similar impact. Okay. You know, and so when you've connected with them like that, Io, that's called a disarming question for an interviewer.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a quick question. What do y'all think about if you ask your interviewer about their company's turnover, like if they have a high turnover? Is that something that you should not do in the interview, or?
Wow. So you're asking the question to get an answer like yes or no or maybe. I mean, I'm just curious what the kind of response you would get from that, right? And how would that help you? Like, let's pretend they have a high turnover. Okay, I'm not going to work for you then. Or they got a low turnover. Okay, now I want to work for you. Is there another way to phrase it that?
What happened to maybe you should ask like what happened to the last person who was in this position? Why is this position available?
That's a
Yes.
better.
You know what? You could start with a that's a good question, but a less confrontational question is this a new position that has been opened up, or am I filling a vacancy for someone who found another opportunity elsewhere? It's non-confrontational, it's factual, okay, and it's exploratory. Okay, the worst they could say is, well, we're just, and who knows?
So Marcelo, what I'm hearing from you also is, and I'm hearing from the rest of the group, when you're interviewing, because you're going to have go through a lot of interviewing, you need to experiment as well. You need to test the waters. Nothing's cookie cutter. So I want you guys to go out there and try something out. Hey, Godwin tried something out of the box. Okay, I'll give you Godwin. You tried something. Hey, where's my job? Let's go. You know, give it to me.
Rick, we have a question from Diamond. They've had their hand up for quite a while. I'm sorry to stomp on you, Joe.
Hello,
That's okay.
I'm sorry. My name is Diamond. I'm calling from Dallas, Texas. This is my first time here. And the question that I had was, what would you do if you actually have a job description and then you go for the interview and the interviewer is asking you stuff that is not in the job description? Do you bring them back to the job description that you had, or you keep going?
I don't know if you can, I mean, so you're trying to control the interview, but remember that person's there controlling the interview. I mean, I understand you're interviewing them as well, but they're trying to solve something in their mind. So you're going to have to try to answer them in a way that kind of helps them. Maybe it's more than what they put in the job description. Maybe they missed, maybe there is a gap. So you can open up that conversation, but imagine you being very strong and saying, but I'm a Scrum Master, not an Agile coach. You know, isn't this, it already sounds, but there's probably a nicer way to say it as well, but just be careful that they might have some intentions. Yeah. And I see Saba's hand. I got to make sure go ahead, Saba.
Think of, give me a second, Saba. Think of how you can invite them to open up, Diamond. Okay. You could, and this, I mean, I'm just theorizing. This is just an idea. You could say, I get this sense, in other words, express a feeling. I get this sense, okay, there are some things that you're interested in this particular person to help you with that go beyond what I read in the job description. Can you tell me a little more? And you just open the door for them to share with you what's on their mind.
I like that.
Yeah, you can always ask clarifying questions.
Okay,
So
thank
bring
you.
them back.
Let Saba speak, guys. Saba's been there patiently.
Go for it, Saba.
Go ahead, Saba. Sorry.
Actually, I love the question from Diamond. Thank you so much. Actually, that's a very good question. My thing is follow up to what Brandon was saying, which I think is brilliant. And also I like Sophie's spreadsheet, but look what I started doing. So I go through the job description and I figure out the high level requirements and how my qualifications or my stories align with that. And then this way I have it in front of me. And as they're talking to me, it's like on my screen and I can just use it as a cheat sheet.
Is there an app for that?
No, there isn't. It's just all scribbled with my handwriting.
Not yet,
Thank you very much, Saba. I do appreciate your input.
Hey, I wanted to add a quick tip too. So these are all great ideas. So hopefully you've done your practicing. You feel a little bit more comfortable because you have done your practicing. Something that's really worked out for me is, you know, like sometimes you go on an interview and you're all stressed out because you're kind of ready to be drilled by the questions. So what I like to do is find out a little bit more about my interviewer, if you can, like who you're interviewing with them. Go to LinkedIn, take a look, maybe find something that you have in common. And before the interview even starts, like, you know, you'll do an introduction now, and then I would say, you know, before we get started, I noticed that on LinkedIn you attended, you know, FAU. I went to FAU. What year did you? And just do an icebreaker, and it really makes the interview so much better, so much easier. You get more relaxed. You can interview much better because you're not stressed out, because now you've made some sort of connection to that. For an example, I interviewed with Ford once, and what I did for my icebreaker is I really told them about, you know, I've owned like Mustangs before and they're great cars and all these things, and they really loved that. So I'm like, I'm your, you know, #1 fan, and that really hit off the interview well. So
Love it, Joe.
I
So,
love
with time permitting, guys, because I know we committed to finish at 7:30. I need a big favor. I need everyone to turn on your video cameras. Yes, I know we all don't have great hair days and all that stuff, but I want to actually take a quick snapshot.
Wait. What are you trying to say, Rick? What are you trying to say
You look great. You
about
look good.
hair days?
You're good. You're good. You're good. So please turn on your video cameras. We want to just kind of take a snapshot. I know, Neilu, there's several screens here. So let's make sure we try to get everyone's beautiful face. All right. So we are a tight community. Today was a big exercise because we had a lot of people. Normally, we break you into smaller groups so you can have more interaction. And we did a lot to try to get interaction, but there was just a big group. So I had to pause certain people that love to talk. We have coaches here that love it, and they're very passionate. So I do apologize, coaches, a little bit to stop you guys. But we do this again on Saturday, so you can have smaller sessions. And we want to continue this.
Yeah,
So we're looking for opportunities for people that want to volunteer, in a sense where maybe you guys can volunteer to build out your resume, build out your career in a group setting, and then you're going to be helping everyone else out. So we're looking for volunteers to actually say, how can they meet on a maybe regular basis so they can make traction on it? You saw what Saba showed us, right? She showed us a certain design of how you saw the Kanban board in the background, right? That's all. Imagine if we could package this better and work together to have it. This is our main pain point. Every time we run sessions, there's always people looking for jobs. Well, why aren't we at least helping them, right? Why don't we create an app that might help them? Why aren't we creating a website that they can all work together at? We need to figure that out. So if you're interested in volunteering, please just put your name in the chat, and then we'll call you to kind of set up a session where we can keep working with you guys. And it's not just about helping yourself, it's about helping the community. Regina, you were about to say something?
Yeah, so this Saturday, we have the Agile Coaching Clinic. If any of you want to attend, we have a special topics. We're going to have breakout rooms. We have Agile coaches volunteer in each of the breakout rooms. We have a breakout room for Agile coaching capabilities and techniques, breakout room for Agile leadership, you know, what it takes to be an Agile leader. We're going to have separate breakout rooms for Scrum, Kanban, and scaling Agile best practices. And we're going to have volunteers, you know, helping kind of facilitate that. So if you guys want to learn about that, it's very different than our Wednesdays. Wednesdays is like one special topic, and Rick was our great presenter today. So thank you so much, Rick. But Saturdays is the Agile Coaching Clinic, and we're going to do breakout rooms. You guys can come and learn more about Agile.
And what's the cost, Marcelo?
Dude, didn't you remember? It's free as in beer, Rick.
Okay.